Hello, everyone. Welcome to another special episode of The Council. I'm Yousef, and today, the light's a little too bright. Let's just do that real quick. Okay, today it is day 2 of the review week bonanza. There was a lot of content that came out last weekend, like a lot. It's crazy. And we're just gonna review it. So yesterday we reviewed Freaky. That's the Vince Vaughn Blumhouse horror movie. Today, we're reviewing Hillbilly Elegy. This is the movie from Ron Howard and Netflix, starring Glenn Close and Amy Adams. It's an awards hopeful. Tomorrow, we're reviewing Ammonite. That's the Kate Winslet, Saoirse Ronan awards bait film. And then on Thursday, we're reviewing Fat Man, and I'm really, really excited for Fat Man. Also today in 3 hours, if you're watching this right when we launch this, but at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, episode 3 of The Council is going to be out. That is the podcast that I do with 6 other hosts. It's going to be a really, really fun episode. We talk Disney Investors Call. We talk Zack Snyder's Justice League, Wonder Woman. We talk about Scream. We play a game of Jeopardy. It's just going to be a really, really fun time. So check that out wherever you get your podcast. All the links are down below. It's going to be a blast. But today we are reviewing Hillbilly Elegy. I saw this in theaters, and sadly, and you know what? I was already kind of upset at this movie because this weekend Mank was supposed to come out, right? So Netflix has all these, like, a lot of movies, and no other studio really has any movies. So theaters, particularly here, are like, you know what, screw it, we're gonna play Netflix. And Mank was supposed to come out this weekend, but last minute they decided, you know what, let's push Mank and release Hillbilly Elegy. Why? I don't know, but they did. Now, I went to go see it the day kind of the embargo lifted, so I saw the horrendous Rotten Tomatoes score of 28%, and quite frankly, I was not surprised at that. The trailer looked pretty bad, and it's directed by Ron Howard, and with all due respect to Ron Howard, I mean, he's made some classics, but recently his films have just not been good. I mean, Solo was fine. I kind of liked Solo, but it's just not, he's not at the level he once was, or the level that Bryce Dallas Howard was, because I also watched this the same day as her Mandalorian episode, and that was a lot better. Now this movie is really, 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 really bad. I wouldn't say it's the worst movie of 2020, because Artemis Fowl exists. You can't get any worse than Artemis Fowl. But the fact that people actually still think that this is going to be an awards contender blows my mind, just because of how crap it is. First of all, the script. The script is one of the worst scripts I've ever seen in my life, right? It's based on a book by J.D. Vance, which is apparently a controversial book. I've never read it. I haven't read a book since grade 5, so that's where I'm at. But the script is just horrendous for a multitude of reasons. Taking away the extremely offensive parts of the film, which I'll get to in a second because they are very important, just on a story structure level, the film is very, very weak. It is like every other film like this that you've seen. If you've seen any kind of, like, quote-unquote redneck film, you know, or like one where there's one successful member of the family and has to go back home and help with, you know, drug addiction and blah, blah, blah. You've seen this movie before. They add absolutely nothing new. There's nothing to this film that's, like, has any sort of substance whatsoever to anything. So that sucks. But then also, it's just so incredibly offensive. Hollywood needs to learn. And, like, I'm not looking to get political today, but there's a big problem in the way that, again, quote-unquote rednecks and people who are in red states are depicted, particularly by Hollywood, you know, liberal media. And this does not help the argument that it's not like that. You know, like, people like to say, oh, you can't stereotype, you can't do this, you can't do that, which you can't, absolutely not. But it's just a two-way street. You can't then just go and say, oh, look at all these hicks, you know, they're crazy, man. Like, there's legitimately several points in the film where you see these people just, like, doing the craziest things, just yelling at each other and hitting each other, and they're just so angry. And it's kind of blown, in the script, it's blown off with Amy Adams or Glenn Close just saying, oh, look at those, oh, you know, they're just crazy, they're just wild, man. And it's like, explain. Like, I understand people will say, oh, but there are people like this in these areas. Sure, fine, 100%, yes. But at the same time, you have to explain why. If you're going to depict everyone as that, you have to explain why they are like that. What is making them like? And I guess they try to do that a little bit, but there just wasn't enough substance in the story to do that. Also, I think having like two or kind of two and a half different like timelines going also does not help the film at all. It takes you out of it, especially because the two leads who play JD Vance are so unlikable that you're never invested in the story. I saw this in a theater and I was the only person in the theater, and I don't ever like to go on my phone, but especially when there's no one else in the theater and the movie is this bad and this boring, and I wouldn't say unwatchable, but there were points where I was like just frustrated. And especially because this was a lot, like I went to see Freaky, Ammonite, and this on the same day, and this was the last film, so I was just like, god damn it, I just want to go home. I was on my phone a lot. And especially because this is going to be on Netflix, I really don't think anyone's going to get through it. Also, the film has a hard time picking who they want to focus on. There's no lead to this film. It's not Amy Adams, it's not Glenn Close, and it's not JD Vance. They kind of tumble between the three depending on what point of the story you're in, and none of it really makes any sense. None of it works. And back to kind of the offensiveness of it. This movie is so stereotypical to people in red states. It's as if, like, you know the sketch on SNL, The Californians, that Fred Armisen and Bill Hader and all these people did, where it was like, you know, the typical California, like, surfer dude, all blonde, you know, avocado, like, just dumb. It is like if that was made about people in red states. It feels like an SNL sketch. It legitimately does, but just like a really, really long SNL sketch. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll put it in the description box down below, where you can watch it. It's a pretty funny sketch, but the fact that this is like a serious film that has the same level of stereotypes but doesn't really understand that it's not a satire, it's not a comedy, is mind-blowing to me. I think this movie has absolutely zero chance at awards. Maybe a Razzie, but it has zero chance at awards because Netflix has like every single movie that could be nominated this year. You know, like I would say have maybe 80 to 90% of the films in Oscar season right now. And we like to joke that Netflix is a bottomless pit of money, which they kind of are. But even with that, they do not have the bandwidth to push every single film that they have going. And especially as they keep acquiring new films, it's just impossible. For example, I don't think Da 5 Bloods is going to get nominations apart from potentially Delroy Lindo because it came out so early and it just did not really materialize that well. I don't see that getting anything. I don't see Pieces of a Woman getting anything besides acting, potentially. I don't see this getting anything besides maybe Glenn Close, which I'll get back to. I don't see A Devil All the Time getting anything, you know, like all these little movies that could have been awards contenders at any other studio are not going to be because Netflix has so much to push. That being said, Glenn Close was the only good part of the film. She was so good as Mama. There was one point, like her performance again was just so perfect, and there was one point where I'm not gonna spoil anything, but let's just say she's looking at a test, and it's such a quiet, such a short moment, and it's so subtle, but it just was so perfect that I think, you know, if she doesn't wear a gold dress to the Oscars, maybe she'll win an award. We don't know. Yeah, I could see her getting a nomination. And I, like, with the films I've seen, I don't, like, off the top of my head, maybe other than Ellen Bernstein in Pieces of a Woman, I don't really see anyone as, like, a lock for Best Supporting Actress, so she could do it. I also think this movie just is heartless. I'm sorry. None of the characters have any emotion. None of the characters have any sympathy for each other. None of the characters do anything that make you, you know, like them. And the whole, like, there's this big theme around the movie, especially towards the end, that's kind of like sloppily added in there of you have to, you know, you have to kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? You have to kind of forgive, right? There's a whole big thing at towards the end of the film of you have to forgive, you know, JD Vance has to forgive his mother. It's the whole point of the film. But he clearly didn't do that because he wrote the book. He's an executive producer on this film. And this film just has absolutely no... It depicts J.D. Vance as like this god of like, oh, he finally got out of, the red state and became this, a huge success. Except, his redness is holding him back. Like, he doesn't know how to use a fork. He has to call his civilized girlfriend to teach him how to eat at a restaurant. He has so much resentment for his mother and for his grandmother and from where he came from. Like, he hates it. It's like a crazyville. He has absolutely no sympathy for his mother, who's going through legit problems, substance abuse, and was abused as a child, and he just does not care. He's like, well, you hurt me. And it's like, are you kidding me? You're an adult man, you're a successful adult man, and this is really the best that you can do? Like, I don't understand how anyone, Ron Howard, Amy Adams, Glenn Close, Netflix, read this script, read this book, and was like, yep, we're gonna do that. And not only are we gonna do that, but we're also gonna go with the fairy tale that JD Vance is perfect and that all these people are crazy. Like, that just pissed me off. This movie is really, really angering, and it's just, again, because politically right now, especially in the United States, this is a huge argument about the people like this not being represented at all and being mischaracterized with the election and with, he who shall not be named. And this doesn't help. Like, for example, Nomadland. I love Nomadland. I saw it twice at TIFF. I don't think I was supposed to, but I watched it twice. Just before it ended, I reloaded it, and I watched it again. And that, I think, does a perfect job of showing that community and showing a part of America that is never depicted with, like, love. Because Chloe Zhao talked beforehand about how she used to, kind of go around and met all these people. But here, it's just like a caricature. They're like, oh, yeah, they're stupid hicks. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know how to be civilized. They're dumb as hell. And one of them finally got out and is, like, at Yale. But that means nothing to these rednecks because they're all stupid. Like, I don't understand. I don't understand how this got made. I don't understand how anybody put their names to it. I mean, I feel really bad for Amy Adams and Glenn Close because I don't think either of them have ever won an Oscar. And they really deserve it. But this is not the film that I think is going to help them at all. It's just so frustrating. It's really, really, really frustrating. I understand why people have such a problem with this, and it's infuriating that people they still don't get it. They still don't get it, and it's so annoying. I hate hypocrisy, and this is the perfect example of hypocrisy, and I hate it, and it's so annoying. So that's my review of Hillbilly Elegy. It is playing in select theaters now and is going to be on Netflix November 24th. There's really no point to watch it, to be honest with you. Zero, zilch, nada. There wasn't even any interesting shots. There wasn't any good performances other than Glenn Close. There wasn't any good line. There wasn't any good scene that was like, literally, I wanted to point this out because I saw on Twitter, I was looking through the hashtag, and the parent of one of the kids in the film was like, oh, I'm so proud of, my son or whatever. And I was like, yeah, like, I feel really bad because I feel like these people really tried their hardest, but they just weren't able to, like, go past the material. Like, JD Vance's friends in this film, I feel so bad for them because I don't know how they are in real life. Maybe they're like that, but they were depicted as, like, the dumbest rednecks alive, and they were all gingers for some reason, and they were just like beer chugging, like math hitting, like they were just so stupid. And even Glenn Close was like, oh, they're gonna end up in jail, they have no life. And it's like, try to have some sympathy. Everybody needs to be sympathetic towards one another. Everybody. You can't say, you have to like this and this and this and this if you're not going to like that person, right? That's all that we need. You just need to be sympathetic towards one another. Be sympathetic towards other... Frustrating. Anyway, that is my review of Hillbilly Elegy. I told you where you can find it. You're not going to find it. There's no point to find it. But thank you guys so much for watching, liking, commenting, and subscribing. Be sure to subscribe to this channel. We are going to have reviews all throughout the week. And then also on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we will have video segments of our podcast going up if you want to digest them day by day or just look at our beautiful faces. That's okay. We have new episodes of our podcast, The Council, every Tuesday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Wherever you get your podcasts, all the links are in the description box down below. Follow us on Twitter at the Council Pod and on Instagram at @the_Council Pod to stay updated. Yeah, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Oh hey, thanks for watching. And remember, full episodes are available wherever you get your podcasts.
With new episodes Tuesday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, links in the description box.
And be sure to subscribe and hit that bell to stay caught up to date with the Council.
Boys, I'm excited.